Lovely.
Good
Good.
evening. Great.
Getting all jacked up on coffee.
Nice.
I just started recording.
Awesome.
We
Give
got
everybody.
we got the bank separately this morning, huh?
Looks like it.
I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody.
Thank you. Give everybody just another minute to get in. Looks like there's still a few people that might be missing that were here yesterday. Matt, do you mind taking attendance? I don't see Clara here.
Yep, got it.
Just want to make sure that we get those checked off. All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for today, now day 2 of Command in or Compliance in Command training. This is step 2. At this point now, you should have your DocuSign accounts connected, and you should be able to create a contact inside of Command. Those were the 2 pieces we covered yesterday. Today, I want to do 2 things. One, we're going to make sure that your NERDS ID is correctly associated with your DocuSign account, because we do use state forms in some of our forms, and those are in DocuSign via an agreement. DocuSign has the state association. You have to enter your NERDS ID in DocuSign in order to access those documents. I want to walk through that today and show you how that process works, because it's a little tricky to find where to enter that information if it hasn't prompted you for it already. And then we're going to walk through creating an opportunity from the contact that we created yesterday. And once we create that opportunity, that'll set us up for the rest of the week, which is where we actually jump into documents, the compliance and commission piece that we'll be covering. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And you should be seeing my command. I'm going to jump over to DocuSign here. Now, when you set up your DocuSign accounts yesterday, you can access DocuSign directly. However, in order to create a room and have it properly associate inside of Command, you have to create it from inside of Command. You have to create your room. You could still, again, go to DocuSign directly for other needs or e-signature purposes. And we'll go through how to actually create those rooms from inside of Command. We'll jump into that tomorrow. Today, again, I want to make sure that we have our NERDS ID associated. So you can go to DocuSign.com directly and log in. And you'll log in using the username and password you created yesterday that is set up inside of Command and connected to the KW platform. Now, once I get in here, it's going to launch me directly into the e-signature platform first. But I have to enter my NERDS ID into the transaction rooms side of DocuSign. In order to get there, we're going to click in the top right where your initials are on the screen, or maybe a picture if you've updated your profile already. And you're going to switch to rooms. And once we switch to rooms, we'll let it load here. Now, once we're in the rooms platform and it fully loads, we're going to click the initials in the top right again. And this time you're going to select preferences. So once we've selected preferences, it's going to load up exactly what it is, a preference screen. You can customize some information here, your contact info, notifications, inbox details. But where we want to go today is integrations. So on the left-hand side, underneath your name and picture, in the preferences of rooms, we're going to click integrations. This is where if you have a ZipForms account and you prefer to create your own templates and documents in ZipForms, you can log in here and connect that into your DocuSign profile. If you scroll down below ZipForms, you should have this NERDS ID information. And this is where you will enter your NERDS ID and submit that. By submitting your NERDS ID, it will connect you to the proper associations that you are a member of. You can see that the South Carolina Association of Realtors is connected, and there are additional associations here for me that says 2. You will have 1 or 2. You could have more than that, depending on the associations you're a part of. If you have if you're members of boards in like places like Charleston or Greenville, that could change a little bit. These associations do not yet have form libraries. And if at some point in time they have a form library set up with DocuSign, then those will auto-populate there as member of. That's pretty simple. That's how we access and enter your NERDS ID information. If you have any problems with that, there are some people across the state of South Carolina, I've heard, in other market centers that have had trouble connecting their NERDS ID. If you have trouble, please shoot me an email and let me know, so we can report that to KW and DocuSign and make sure that those issues go away for us and things continue to function.
Can you show how to find your NERDS ID?
Yeah. The way I know how to find my NERDS ID is I search in Google. So I'm going to go NERDS ID and Realtor. It's pretty simple. I don't know the exact website, but it's going to be on NAR's website. Thanks for putting me on the spot, Matt. But however, it's going to pop up one of the first things, and it's a Realtor.com website. So finding your NERDS ID, Realtor.com support.
I do it the same way when I'm helping people, by the way. It's just Google and then enter in your stuff.
Yeah. And I can look it up on this lookup tool available here. There's other Google searches that'll actually pop this up right away. And I can enter my last name and email, which is recommended, or I can enter my last name and real estate license number. Submit, and it's going to pop up my NERDS ID. So again, just search NERDS NRDS, NERDS Realtor number, or any combination thereof in Google, and it will populate multiple websites for you to get to. Go to the NERDS ID locator, enter your last name and email, or last name and license number. It'll give you your NERDS ID appropriately. All right, that is all for the integrations side as far as NERDS ID and DocuSign that we're going to touch today. Now I want to go into Command. And yesterday we were working with Jack and Julie Baker. We input those contacts. Today I want to now take those contacts and we're going to create an opportunity. And there's multiple ways to create an opportunity inside of Command. And today I want to show you two of those methods. The first is going to the Opportunities tab. So if they're already in your database, they're already existing, and you've been working on them for a while, they've been in there for a while, this is probably how you're going to create the opportunity. If you just got the information, they're a brand new contact, they're ready to buy, they're ready to move forward, then you would create the opportunity from inside of the contact itself. I'm going to go to Opportunities, which is the little handshake icon on the left-hand side of your Command platform. Populate this window here. And this is loading the opportunity dashboard. Now, if I look here, I've got 3 different dashboards within opportunities. I have listings, buyers, and leases. So if you manage your own rental properties, you can track those right here in Command as well. At the very bottom, we have some stats for you, so you can see your activity on a 12-month rolling of what opportunities you have that have closed. You can filter those down into just listing, buyer, and the lease side of things as well. On the left-hand side, it's going to give you ratios of listings to buyers and leases from a rental standpoint. And then if you have any closings this month and you've entered all the information, they're going to populate down here in the bottom section of Command, specifically the Opportunity tab. Now, if you're on a team, up at the very top, excuse me, you're going to have a few different options. You can see that I have my name, so those are opportunities assigned specifically to me. All opportunities and all discussions. Now, all opportunities is going to be all opportunities for my team and myself included. You can separate yourself out if you're on, if you're the rainmaker, or depending on how your team setting permissions are set up. If you have a team and we need to talk about that further, we can set up additional time to talk about team settings within opportunities. Just know that there are different dashboards depending on how your team functions. If you're an individual agent, all you need to know is you're creating all opportunities under your name. If you're on a team, they will be auto-populating most likely to your team's name. Just know that. We can dive into that further on team-specific level. Now we're in here. These are the workflows. If you're an individual agent, you can set those up and customize them to yourself. If you're on a team, your team will customize those workflows for you. They go through different buckets, or what we call phases and stages. So phases are going to be cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. But once an opportunity, you can create an opportunity way before they are ever an active buyer or seller. If you know that they're most likely to buy in the next 12 months, then you're probably going to create an opportunity for them. Put them in the cultivate phase. The appointment stage is going to be where we set up an appointment to sign buyer's agency or an exclusive right to sell or a listing appointment. And we're going to be working through the process of making them an active buyer or seller, prepping for market. And then once they're active, obviously active, they're an active buyer, active seller. And we can set up stages within each of these. I'll show you in a second. Then once they go under contract, we can put them under contract here as set up stages within those for inspections, lending, clear to close, other categories, depending on how you want to run your specific contract to close workflow. And then closed is obviously closed. As I put these in, there are different percentages assigned to each level, and it's going to give me a potential and a probable income. Potential is assuming that if I put in all information, including budgets, it's going to give me, assuming everything closes 100% that is in that pipeline. Probable is going to be based off the percentages assigned to each category as to whether they will close or not. So maybe if I have them in the cultivate stage, they only have a 10 or 15% chance of closing. They might never convert. But once I get into the appointment and active stage, that's where it's going to start to change a little bit. And the percentages increase because the more and more they get invested, the more likely they are to actually close, and your probable income is going to continue to rise and get closer to your potential income. Now, to actually create the opportunity, we're going to go back to that Kelly Blue button. Anytime we're taking an action, we can create an opportunity here. Now, it's going to pop up this create an opportunity window. The Market Center, most of you, I think all of you are only a member of the Columbia Downtown Market Center. If you're members of multiple market centers, you would select the appropriate market center. If you're on a team, you should only have one option and it should be defaulted. I don't think we have anybody on multiple teams in our market center. The opportunity type, this is where you're going to select whether it's a listing or a buyer, and it's going to put them in the appropriate workflow. In my case, because I'm an individual agent, I am the owner. On a team, this is going to default most likely to your rainmaker, unless your team has given you different rights or permissions. And then this, we're going to enter the client information. So we're going to make Jack Baker today. Not Backer, but Baker. Maybe I didn't create Jack Baker yesterday. I think it was Julie and Jamie. Let me find the right one. There we go.
It was Jamie.
There we go. So Julie and Jamie are going to sell a house today. So we're going to create Julie Baker listing. If you want, you can set up custom opportunity tags, totally up to you. We're going to set an estimated close date. At this point, let's just say May 29th. You're going to have to use your best judgment on that. The more information you can enter here, the more information is going to help to continue to auto-populate, and the more stats you will have to be able to track in the future. We're going to assume their house is going to list for $252,000 based off of what I previewed on the market. I don't know, I'm just making things up right now. Commission rate, this is the commission rate for your side of the transaction. So we're going to assume a 3% commission, as we should all hopefully be going for on our listings, if not more, depending on the level of service you're offering. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and leave them in the cultivate watch phase, just assuming they're a new listing that might come down the pipe. I'm going to show you how to move that listing along the pipeline really quick. We're going to go ahead and create this listing for Jamie and Julie. And it's going to open the opportunity card. Now, this is the large opportunity card, as I call it. And this is where we can enter all kinds of information and the details beyond what we just entered on last screen. So I can go ahead and enter their address. And I'm going to actually, we're going to sell the office today. It will auto-populate the fields. You have to select from one of the ones that auto-populates in order for the address to properly pull over. It should pull the city, state, county, and zip code for you. And we're going to click save. We now have a property assigned to Jamie and Julie's listing. We're going to scroll on down. You can come in here and edit each one of these boxes by clicking the little pencil above each box. So like I just did for the property address, under general information, you can do the same thing. If you have an appointment scheduled, an agreement one date, once it goes under contract and has a close date, you can set those as well. There's also this seller worksheet that you can put in. And if you put in all of the commission amounts appropriately, we're going to assume seller closing cost of 3%, mortgage balance of 180,000, second mortgage of 15,000, prorated taxes, let's say 2,500, and prorated HOA dues. Now, this information is all going to populate if I choose to use the seller net worksheet within Command. It can help me do that on every offer that you receive. You can input those offers into Command. You can create a seller net worksheet so they can, in a multiple offer situation, look at each offer side by side. It's another class that I teach later down the road. Today, I just want to focus on creating the opportunity and explaining some of the things you can do. And we're going to go ahead and save this. You can enter a description here of the property. If you're visiting it today, let's say it's not going to go on the market for another 30 or 45 days, and you want to go ahead and write your description that you'll put in the MLS, you could use this for that. You could just use it for your own recollection, just for running notes or thoughts on that specific property. Now, in the contact, I'm going to record information about the contact specifically. However, for the listing, I want any listing specific information to go within the opportunity. And the reason is every opportunity is going to fill in inside the contact. And you don't want to confuse later down the road as they become a buyer or another seller and they sell again with you. You want to make sure each property is staying specific to the opportunity within the contact as opposed to in the contact record. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the rest of this opportunity card really quickly. The seller profile. This is going to tell you if you have assigned a guide to them, if they've registered on the consumer platform. So if they have used your app and that's how you're interacting with them, this is where those pieces of information land. We're going to come over here to documents really quickly. This is what we're going to dive into tomorrow and Thursday. We're going to talk more about documents, how that process works, selecting the appropriate checklist. Offers, we're going to talk about this on Thursday and Friday. We have to input an offer as an accepted offer in order to access this commissions tab, which is what's replacing the green sheet. You have a running note section where you can add additional notes for this specific transaction. And then you'll have a timeline of everything that has happened on this opportunity. So this is similar to the activity log that you would see in Dotloop. You're going to see that I've changed all these different things. Everything I've updated is going to be shown here within the opportunity timeline. That's an overview of the opportunity card, or what I call the large opportunity card. In the top left, I'm going to click Sales Pipeline Listing to go back to my pipeline dashboard. Now that I'm here, you can see that I have my potential income has risen. It was 0 before, and that's because I now have a new property with a 3% commission rate in my cultivate phase. Now I'm going to click on this cultivate icon to open up the listing dashboard. And now you can see Julie Baker's listing at 1523 Hugh G Street. This is what I call the mini opportunity card. Now on the bottom left of this card, there's this little checklist icon, and you can create a custom checklist for every stage within your phase all the way through to closing. Again, that's another class I'll teach later down the road of how to customize your opportunity pipeline. Just want to make you aware that it's totally customizable, specific to you and the way you run your real estate transactions. Now I can click this little handle on the left side of this opportunity card here, the 6 dots, and I can click and drag this along the way. Now within the cultivate phase, I just drag over. If I want to drag to a different phase, appointment, active or under contract or closed, I'm going to click the handle and raise it up to the appropriate one. We're going to go ahead and make this listing appointment, because tomorrow we're going to come back to it and learn how to create the documents for it so we can make it active. And I'm going to lift it up until I see the dotted outline change to that Kelly blue. And right there, it was there. And then I'm going to drop it. And now Julie Baker's listing has dropped into schedule. We're going to go ahead and put it as scheduled because we have an appointment scheduled tomorrow to fill out the exclusive right to sell so we can make this an active listing in the system. And you can see there's now a checklist, 0 out of 4 for scheduled. I can click that. I need to send them an email reminder about our appointment tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and map the location and run a CMA today for myself and create a listing package. So I'm ready to go for that listing appointment tomorrow with all of my documents in hand and ready to create an opportunity. Now, this checklist is specific to me. This is not defaulted in your system. You will have to create your own checklist. Again, I will teach that class later down the road as you want to customize your opportunities further. Today, again, we're just working on how to create and manage the opportunity as a whole. I'm going to go ahead and close that window. And that is how we create an opportunity inside of Command. The one other way that I wanted to show you how to create an opportunity is through the contact card specifically, as opposed to inside of opportunities. So I'm going to click contacts, the 2 little people on the left. Again, remember, you can click the red KW if you don't know the names of the icons yet. Go ahead and click contacts. I'm going to find Julie again. And from inside of here, now that I'm in the contact card, I've got Julie Baker with a very poor health score on her contact because I don't have any contact information for her. So I need to make sure to update that, add her phone number and email. Over here on the right side in the box, it defaults to timeline. I'm going to click opportunities. And you see I now have an active opportunity here in the scheduled appointment phase. This is for the listing opportunity that we just created. And because Julie and Jamie, I keep saying Jack today, because Julie and Jamie are also going to need to buy a house, we're going to go ahead and create an opportunity for them to buy. I can create that from right here inside of the contact card. And I go to opportunities and create opportunity. It's going to take me to the same exact window that I was in before inside of opportunities. I'm going to select all of the same information or the appropriate information that needs to populate here. I could add custom tags, again, an estimated closing date. We're going to assume they're going to be able to close the same date as their listing sells. And we're going to go with a budget of $325,000 at a commission rate of 3%. And I'm going to go ahead and put them in the appointment phase and scheduled, because when we do our exclusive right to sell paperwork tomorrow, we're also going to sign buyer's agency for them to buy their next house. That way we can be in compliance before they even start the process of actually buying or their property being listed. We're going to go ahead and create that opportunity. And it's going to go through the same exact thing. I now have 2 opportunities live for Julie and Jamie. I've got their listing. And I totally just messed up and made 2 listing opportunities. That happens. I'm going to have to create another opportunity, and I forgot to change this to buyer. So classic training mistake there. We're going to go ahead and change to buyer. We're going to delete the other opportunity. I'll show you how to archive that. We're going to add Jamie back in here, all the same information. We're going to go ahead and create that opportunity. So now I have extra ones. So I need to get rid of this Baker listing that I just set up by accident. I'm going to click on it. It's going to take me now to the opportunity card, and it's going to open it up for me. And yep, this is the wrong one, 325,000. And I can come here and I can click lost opportunity inside the opportunity card, or I can archive it. If I archive it, I have to do it from the little card. And I want to get rid of this little one right here. So I click the 3 dots, click archive opportunity. It's going to confirm I want to archive it, and it's gone. So similar to archiving a loop inside of .loop, it's the same process. I would archive it here. Now, once it goes under contract and I've moved my card to under contract, it can no longer be archived because at that point we have to keep it. All right. I have at least one question that came through the chat. Someone found their NERDS ID and we need to go back and put that NERDS ID in. I'm going to show you how to do that one more time instead of DocuSign. Other than that, though, I've now shown you both the things I wanted to show you today, the NERDS IDs and how to create an opportunity. So are there any questions on opportunity or DocuSign, setting up DocuSign with NERDS account?
Andrew.
Yes. Hi, Renee.
Renee here. If you said you have to move it into the, you can't archive something once it goes under contract.
Correct.
So what if the contract, God forbid, falls apart and in a listing situation, the seller just decide, I'm done. You know, we can terminate it in .loop. So how do you do that in here?
Good question. That at that point would be considered a lost opportunity because you can still lose it. You just can't archive it.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Real quick, how to do the NERDS number again. When you log in DocuSign, it's going to take you to the e-signature platform first. On the right-hand side, you're going to click your initials and you're going to switch to DocuSign Rooms because Rooms is where documents are housed.
Hey, Andrew, is there a way to get to DocuSign from command, or you just go to DocuSign directly, DocuSign.com?
There is a way to get to DocuSign from inside of command when you're creating a room, but it's going to straight create a room, and we'll go over that tomorrow. Okay. But as far as managing your DocuSign preferences, you have to do that from DocuSign directly.
So how do you get to DocuSign right now? I mean, do you just?
DocuSign.com.
Okay. So we should all, I'm sorry if I missed that in the first couple of minutes, but we should all go ahead and log in to DocuSign.com.
So we're associating our NERDS ID with the DocuSign accounts that we created after yesterday's training. So once you've created your DocuSign account from inside of command, then you would log into DocuSign directly. And when you get into DocuSign, you have to associate your NERDS ID in order to access the South Carolina forms, some of the South Carolina forms we use. So once you get into DocuSign.com, it's going to take you to the e-signature platform. Then we're going to go to DocuSign Rooms by clicking the drop down of your initials on the right, and it'll say switch to Rooms. Once we're in Rooms, we click Preferences. And Preferences in Rooms is different than Preferences in the e-signature platform, so don't be confused by that. Once we get in here on the left-hand side, you've got your picture, if you've uploaded one, or an avatar there until you do. Underneath that, the very last option is integrations. And under integrations, when you scroll down, there's a spot for your NERDS ID to be entered and submitted. All right.
Andrew, I just realized that if you're entering your NERDS ID for the first time, that whole thing I did about trying to find your NERDS ID, there's actually a button right to the right of the blank that says find your NERDS ID, and you just click it and it takes you to the lookup.
Oh, nice, because mine's already associated. I didn't.
Yeah, mine wasn't, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, there was a question in the chat.
Yeah, getting there. Give me just a second. Thank you, Clara.
Got you.
Once you've archived, so the question was, once we archive an opportunity, how do we access it? Great question. I'm going to jump back into my command platform really quick. Now, if I'm in command and I'm looking for an archived transaction or opportunity, I'm going to click my name in the top right corner, the drop down, and go to settings. So click your picture and name, drop down, go to settings. Once I get here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click command settings, and then there is an opportunity archive. Once I click that opportunity archive, we should see all of the ones that I've trained on an archive. And once you find the appropriate one, you can just click restore on the right. It'll dump it back into your opportunity pipeline.
The most part, archive is like deleting though, right? Like you're usually not gonna archive something that you're gonna need later unless it's a really rare scenario, right?
Correct. Like an archive would be where someone was a buyer. Let's say they were an active buyer and they decided, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna buy right now. I would probably archive that opportunity. And when the time comes for them to buy again, I would create a new opportunity because everything could change. The same with a listing. Let's say you were competing for a listing, you created an opportunity for it, you lost the listing. That would be a reason to archive an opportunity. Something along those lines.
Andrew,
Yes, ma'am.
so why would you create a new one? Will it not just allow you to update the information if things change?
You could update it. It depends on, I guess, their timeline. And this is where it's a case-by-case base, and you would have to use your judgment. Here's the thing. If they are, let's say they're an active buyer, they decide not to buy right now, and they're going to consider again in 3 to 6 months, I might just move them back to the cultivate phase so that I can keep working them. Maybe I leave them in the active so I can keep working them. Whatever your system is for you to maintain is totally up to you. It depends on how clean and organized you want your opportunity dashboard to be. If I'm working with 10 active buyers at a time, Lord willing, and I've got an extra one in there that's not looking right now, maybe I don't want them in my dashboard. It's just totally up to you and what you want to see on your side. That would be my thought. And like if you have a deal fall through, like let's say you have a listing and someone brought you a contract on that listing, and then that listing offer fell through, there's no need to archive at that point. There's a way to create a new form set within the system, and we'll go through that tomorrow and Thursday.
Can I ask you one question about the team thing?
Yep. Sure.
Backing up, you know, when you were showing our name, our team name, and then, hang on one second. I was seeing my opportunities, and then I clicked on all opportunities, but it didn't show by agent name. Is there a way that it would show each one of the groups of circles by agent name?
I don't know that you can do that. Let me look into that, Renee, and I'll shoot that out in my follow-up email later this evening. From training today, let me get an answer for you. I don't believe you can see a breakdown agent by agent. That's where you would want to create an opportunity tag.
But you see the value in that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Totally see it. And if it's not something they've done yet, it's something that we can ask for.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Looks like there's one more question in the chat there, Andrew, too.
Yep. Just a second. Just making a note here for myself. Laura, when a buyer is no longer pre-approved due to the regulation changes, do I move back to watch and cultivate? Again, up to you. I would say probably. At this point, they're not necessarily an active buyer. It depends on how you're going to manage your workflow. If they're no longer pre-approved, I think I would, I don't know, they've still signed a buyer's agency. So maybe you leave them active and mark them as needs pre-approval. I don't know how your team is set up. Maybe there's a bucket once they're active that they're seeking pre-approval, because we could have buyer's agencies signed and not showing houses before they have a pre-approval in hand, and they could be sitting in the active waiting for pre-approval. Totally depends on how your team is set up or individually your process works.
So those phases are editable, right? Like you can add phases or delete phases and things, right? Within the stages.
Yes.
So I think there's going to be a lot of that as different teams and different agents get comfortable with how they want to run their flow. I think the only thing we care about as a market center is when it goes under contract, it needs to be in the under contract, and when it closes, it needs to be in the closed.
Well, and that actually doesn't matter to the market center, quite honestly. So yes, our goal would be that you have them in under contract and closed. However, that does not affect us from a compliance standpoint. You could have them all sitting in active or all in cultivate and never move them through the pipeline. You have to have an opportunity, though, to create the documents and submit them for compliance and commissions. Right. This is where you can choose to adopt all of the opportunity pipeline or not. If you choose to adopt it, it's going to make your business more efficient. It's going to allow you to stay more organized in your transactions. And it's going to help you actually focus on your one thing every day and not be distracted by, wait, where's that transaction at in the process? And you're filtering through 30 of them in the cultivate because you've never moved them along the process. The process is created to make your business more efficient. And there are ways to customize it specific to you. And we would recommend that. But it's totally up to you how much of this part you want to use. At minimum, you have to create an opportunity, and you have to be able to work inside that specific opportunity.
We would love for you to have them in under contract and close, though, so we know what to expect.
Well, we can't see that.
I think we can.
There is kind of a way, but it's not super trackable. Again, recommended, highly recommended, not required. We're going to go based off of documents submitted for compliance, documents that are inside of an opportunity, and we're going to go for a commission request. So again, highly recommended that you use this process. You put them in under contract and closed at minimum, even if you don't customize the checklist. However, totally up to you how much you want to adopt of this. Just like in dotloop, our goal would be that you're tracking the statuses and you're putting them as pre-offer, under contract, and closed. Again, that's up to you whether you're updating the status of that loop or not. Our goal that you would also be updating the status of your transactions in the same way here.
Andrew, another question, please.
Yes.
So if we're doing this the appropriate way and we enter somebody in, is it automatically, when we're ready to do the exclusive right to sell or the EBA, is it automatically populating what needs to go into DocuSign?
As far as the information it's pulling into DocuSign?
Yes.
Right now, it is going to pull the names and email addresses into DocuSign, and it will pull some additional fields. And it's a little buggy beyond name and email address. They're working on more and more and more integration. And over time, we're going to see more and more fields pulled from Command into DocuSign. But right now, it will, at minimum, pull the names and the email addresses into DocuSign.
Well, that's, and then because at least you're not, double duties.
Correct. And then you can assign those fields. So let's say I have Jamie and Julie are buying or even selling, either one. When I get into DocuSign, and we'll look at this tomorrow, I can assign them to buyer 1 and buyer 2, or seller 1 and seller 2 with a click of a button, and then it'll drop their name in the appropriate fields.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any other questions?
I think one thing to say about this too, not a question, but just a statement, is just from the things that I hear about where this is going, I think we are in the phase where it is, as good as what we have, and it will just continue to get better and better from here. And that's why I think getting in and doing it the right way now, and establishing those right habits of, moving people along the pipeline and setting up your task list and things like that, that will help, because later on, as the artificial intelligence gets better, and it's gonna let us help you do more things. Like it lets us know what kind of training we need. Like if we have a lot of people who are in Cultivate or in appointment, and then they don't make it to under contract, or there's going to be tracking systems in there. We'll know what kind of training that we need as an office. If we have listings that are not closing, they went active but they don't go under contract, or we have buyers that are that way, or whatever it might be, there'll be trends that we can follow to say, hey, it seems like this is something that we're having an issue with in our market center. Maybe we need a training around that. But if we don't have everybody operating as it should on the pipeline, then it's hard for us to really figure that out. So that's where that was coming from when I brought that up earlier. But for now, just get in there and get used to it.
All right. Any other questions? This has been, I believe, recorded this morning as well.
Yep.
And we will share that recording with you guys later this evening, just like I did yesterday. So if you attend the training, you'll get that recording every evening. So that way you can go back and reference what we went over, and make those things happen.
It looks like one more question, Andrew.
Being new to the Palmetto office, one thing I can say is the dot loop setup is light years ahead of other office. Will the forms stay similar to dot loop? Very, very similar, Gina, and to the rest of you. Tomorrow we will dive into that further in detail, and you'll see. I actually think it is a little bit better than dot loop, in my opinion. And it actually gets rid of the dot loop checklist needing to be completed that we used to have to complete for submitting for compliance. The checklist has been replaced inside of the compliance platform. We'll dive into that tomorrow and exactly what that looks like. I think it will stay right on par with how our dot loop is currently set up, if not better in the long run as it continues to evolve.
One thing, just as a housekeeping issue, somebody's thing, we're gonna have to, on future ones, we have to make sure everybody's name is showing on Zoom, because there's one person that just says iPhone. I'm not sure who that is.
Probably
Yesterday
Amy
afternoon
again.
it was Amy, but I'm not sure if that's Amy this morning or if that's somebody else. I know that Sarah's iPad is Sarah Jane.
Is it Jamie?
It's me.
Oh, got it. All right,
Yeah, how about that?
got it. Brian.
Hi, guys.
What's
All
up?
right.
Come on, that's a beautiful face. You got to show us your face, Brian. Come on now.
Yeah, but it was Jamie who had it, so that's what's up.
Well, her face is beautiful too. Come on.
All right, guys, if you don't have any more questions, you're welcome to go. We're done presenting content for today. If you still have questions, feel free to hang out. I'll hang out for a few more minutes. If not, I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. or 4 p.m.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you,
Andrew, are
guys.
you doing these live at 9 and 4?
Yes, live at 9 and 4.
Okay, all right, because a couple of my teammates, I'm texting them right now.
Yep.
Thank you. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you. You guys too.
Team meeting at 11. Mastermind at 3. Should have said that earlier.